Hey everybody, we're watching my striped Raphael try to wiggle out of that cave. He looks like one of those videos you see where the fat cats get stuck in the door, you know, their kitty door. There, he almost made it. I've really got to do something and expand some of these caves and open this up for this poor catfish. He's getting so big now, he really is having a hard time fitting in this 55-gallon tank I've got him in. He used to hide down in the far left of the tank. There's a nice little cave he used to spend a lot of time in there. He can almost get to it. There he goes. He got it. Those are algae wafers, by the way. I break them up and crumble them into pieces. So he's definitely growing. He's still getting bigger. I've moved him, or he's moved himself from the cave at the end of the tank. Not too long ago, I actually reworked the cave to open it up and allow him a little more space in there because he was clearly getting too big for it. And now apparently he's gotten too big for that, and he's spending a lot of his time here in the center of the cave, or the center of the tank now in this new cave. But even that, as you just saw, he really has a hard time wiggling and getting in and out of there. Now, when the big clown loaches here, when they go in the caves, they just roll onto their side and slip right underneath. Clown loaches, any kind of loach really, can wiggle into really small spots. I'm hoping he's going to decide to go under the rocks here at some point. We'll see what I'm talking about. How he just lies on his side and slides right under. Even these much smaller openings the clown loach will go into. The striped Raphael doesn't really have that option. He's round. He's shaped like a tadpole. He's just as thick as he is sideways. If he rolled on his side, it wouldn't do him any good. So they are diggers and burrowers, so I'm not too worried about him. He's not trapped or stuck back there, and in fact he can go out the back of the cave and he's got plenty of room to swim around in the back of the tank. What I do worry about though is injury. If he's really forcing himself across these rocks like that and he's wiggling and scraping, I can see that scratching and scraping him. You know, even if it's only causing little tiny micro cuts in him, that's enough that infection could set in and, you know, illness could take over or something like that. So it's definitely not good that he's in there sort of jammed into these little spots the way he is. But for now, there's not a lot I can do. I will get in there hopefully soon and, you know, rearrange. Holy cow, we just got to see my Red Tail Loach. Look, there it is again. I was just talking about that loach in a video not long ago, and I was saying I'd finally assumed it was dead. It's been so long since I've seen that loach that I just assumed it had died and was gone. But there it is. It has been months and months since I've seen that. Definitely do not recommend getting a red tail loach. They're sometimes also called blue loaches. They're nasty, they're mean, they're not gregarious. They don't like to be in groups. They hide and isolate. And as you probably noticed by my reaction, you don't see them very often, so don't waste your time getting one. Not a great fish unless you're a real loach enthusiast. And I do happen to actually like loaches, as you might be able to tell by looking in this tank. But there's so many loaches out there that are cool loaches that you can get that are fun and friendly and outgoing that you just really don't need to waste your time in one of those red tail loaches. And they get about 10 inches. They get pretty big. Although mine seems to have stopped growing. I was kind of surprised to see that he's now smaller than these clown loaches. This clown loach and the other one went in there at the same time, and this one's growing much faster than the other one. This is the bigger of the two, and they're both about, I don't know, I'm going to say maybe 3 years old at this point. 2.5 to 3. Time really gets away from me. They might even be older than that, but I really don't think so. I've only been keeping fish for about 5 years total, and probably none of my fish, except for 1 or 2 from my first year, are still alive. This tank didn't even sort of get established until my second year when I was really getting more into the hobby. So the oldest fish that could possibly be in this tank would only be 4 years, and I know those clown loaches didn't go in until more recent additions. Actually, some of the last few fish I put in the tank were those clown loaches, and that's where I kind of stopped stocking it. So I'm going to give them, you know, somewhere between 2.5 and 3 years old. And they're pretty big from what I gather for loaches that young. They're slow growers, but I don't know if they grow fast in their first couple years and then slow down or what. But it's not going to be too long before I've got to move these out of the 55-gallon. They do get up to a foot, in theory. So we'll see. They're definitely not going to be able to spend their whole life in a 55-gallon tank. But I'm going to keep them in here as long as I can. They'll probably go over to my 125. Don't really know what I'm going to do with that striped Raphael as he gets bigger. I've had people tell me they can get up to 10 or 11 inches, so if he gets that big, we're going to have to do something else with him as well. And I guess we're not going to see too much more of the Raphael, so I will mention a few other things about this tank. Since I lost my Opaline, the tank has calmed down and is so much more relaxed and chilled out. The Gouramis just kind of drift around and hang out. And I will grant you, all I have left in the way of Gouramis in this tank is the 2 Moonlights and the 1 Gold. But that Opaline was the real troublemaker. She was just mean. She's actually responsible for the death of several fish in this tank. I used to have 2 Golds, but she killed one of them. I used to have Pearls in here, but she killed both of them. She's killed quite a few fish in this tank, and out of the ones that remained, she still bullied them around. She chased them around the tank all the time. So now that she is gone, and I don't know what killed her, she just recently developed what seemed to be nothing more serious than a bladder infection, and within 2 days she was dead. This fish here is the one that was all bloated up and is now looking pretty much back to normal, so I'm not really sure what happened there. I do still have intentions of shooting a video specifically about bloat, or sometimes it's called dropsy. The condition is really called edema. It's fluid retention, and it is more of a symptom than a disease in itself, but I will be shooting some video about that coming up here in the very near future too. The other thing I want to mention about this tank while we're looking at it is all of my little baby guppies. The numbers have finally started going down a little bit. So I think the Gouramis are in there picking them off here and there when they get the opportunity. So I'm not going to have an explosion of little baby guppies in this tank, even if this female continues to drop new babies for up to a year, I hear. I think the Gouramis will take care of the population, and I don't mind a few little babies swimming around here and there as long as they don't keep on growing and suddenly I've got, 15 full-size guppies swimming around this tank. That would be more of a problem. I also need to get in here and do some plant maintenance. You can see I got some stuff already floating up there on the surface, and that long strand goes all the way down to the bottom, so we'll need to get in there and trim some of that out. And all in all, that's about all I can think of that is going on in the Gourami tank. I kind of was going to start out with just doing sort of an update on the catfish there, the striped Raphael catfish, but I guess we got an update on the whole tank. So thanks for watching, and make sure you're subscribed. I do little random, spur-of-the-moment kind of stuff like this, plus all kinds of other good stuff, and you don't want to miss any of it. And if you're subscribed, you won't. So don't forget, this is my Gourami tank. I've got plenty of others, and you don't want to miss any of those either. So thanks again for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.